Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing okay during these times. I kind of just want to preface this video by starting off by saying I'm sorry I haven't really been posting a lot. It's been a little trouble trying to get videos out during a pause. Not much to really talk about. I'm definitely going to try and get more ideas coming within the next couple of days, so I just don't go completely off the radar and post nothing for like 2 weeks or so. But I will definitely be looking to post more going forward, so don't worry about that. But I know some of you probably are thinking, oh, this is a 40-minute video. No, it is. If you're a Devils fan and really interested in the team, this is a very, very well worth it video. Trust me. I know I'm going to promote my own video, whatever. This is a very well worth it. Me and my buddy go really in depth about the Devils and kind of just the NHL a little bit. But I definitely think that you guys will enjoy this video like I did. It was a lot of fun recording. Neil's one of my best friends. Glad he could come on. So no matter what, thank you guys for the support. Doesn't matter how many of you there are. I really appreciate every little bit of attention that I get from everyone. The likes, comments, views, whatever it is, whatever you can do. Feedback, comments on what you liked. I love talking to people about the Devils. So whatever you guys want to do, I really appreciate all the support. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. So today's episode is unlike any other that I've done. Usually I'm just by myself, this small little Zoom room with my background. But today I have a very special guest, one of my best friends that we met in an intro to journalism class a couple years back and haven't looked back since. So Neil Villapiano, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean, for having me on. Yeah, I mean, it's been about, I think we met about 2 years ago now. It's crazy to think like how long ago it's been, even though it's not really that long. But I think it was so funny, like you and I, we just struck up a conversation because I think the first day we met, you were wearing something Devils, I think a shirt or something like that. And,
yeah.
And we got to talking and as they say, the rest is history. But
exactly.
Thanks for having me on. I'm a huge fan of the YouTube channel. I watch every episode. I watch every video. And I know you've been on the Devil State of Mind podcast, which I'm the host of on the Hockey Podcast Network a few times. And, people really enjoy hearing what you have to say. And I'm just appreciative of the fact that you have me on here today.
Awesome. Well, yes, if you don't know, Neil hosts his own Devils podcast, Devil's State of Mind, on the Hockey Podcast Network. It's on Spotify. Is it on Anchor?
It's on well, not Anchor, but it's basically wherever you listen to podcasts, just search Hockey Podcast Network and you'll probably find it, or Devil's State of Mind if you want to be more specific.
Right. And there will be links to his Twitter and all that good stuff, his Instagram, and the links in the description below. All right, so let's get into the season because this has been one whirlwind of a season and it's only been 3 weeks in. The Devils have COVID, up and down kind of season. Nothing really, no one really knows what's going on. The team looked like they were playing well at times, and then they were getting blown out at others. So just Neil, just take me through what you've thought through the first 2-3 weeks of the season.
I would say that I'm really impressed with how well Lindy Ruff has made this team to be competitive throughout, the early parts of this season. I think that, the only game that to me where I felt like they got blown out was the first of the 2 games against Buffalo a couple weeks ago. They really and the fact that they still got a point in that game anyway, just shows you how competitive Lindy Ruff's gotten this team to play. And, it's so emotionally crushing that they had such a big victory the next day against Buffalo, with some of the main guys out of the lineup. And then you had Michael McLeod, who now finally has become a goal scoring type of player. His first 2-goal game, other guys like Miles Wood. I know you're a big fan of Miles Wood. 5 goals, 8
now I am.
3 points. Now you are, right?
Now I am.
5 goals, 3 assists I think he leads the team, or is at least tied with Jack Hughes, I think, in points so far. But I like that the young guys are the ones that are taking charge of this team because they are the future of this team. And, I'm liking, the thing is this, I am just happy that they're competitive as opposed to getting blown out. Like, I know somebody lost to Colorado. I think it was St. Louis. They lost something like 8-0, 8-1. The Devils have not had that yet. Their defense has been better. It's not like, the greatest thing we've ever seen, but it's been better than it was the last couple of years. We're not necessarily blowing multiple goal leads, even though we've gotten pretty close to that, especially in that second Buffalo game. But I'm really happy with how competitive we are this kind of season. It's a season like no other. We have very little to no expectations on how the year, on what this team is supposed to do, what it can do. But I'm just glad that we have Devils hockey back, or at least we did until COVID hit us, which I think we've been hit the hardest of any team in the National Hockey League. I think we're now at 19 as of today, which sucks.
It does.
And it's just funny how one of the only guys that's not on the list is somebody that was on the list already. And that was Mackenzie Blackwood, who's now off the COVID list.
Right.
So it's kind of a frustrating situation to be in. And we all kind of thought, well, maybe this upcoming Thursday we'd have our first game back. Nope. Now we got to wait till next Tuesday?
If
a
that,
week from today.
honestly.
I mean, if that, right, exactly. It just kind of makes you wonder, how much longer can the NHL be okay with this before they really have to take drastic approach to this whole situation? But bottom line is, I'm very happy with how competitive we are, how young we are, and we have a lot of kids that are going to be really valuable down the road for us. And we also still have a bunch of players that haven't even played a game in the NHL. I mean, we had both Nolan Foote get his first goal and first assist as a professional hockey player last night for Binghamton. You also had Riley Walsh get the game-winning goal in overtime to help Binghamton win their first game.
And Michael Vukojevic or whatever that guy's name, third-line pairing defenseman, has 2 assists in his AHL debut.
We have a lot of young, talented players on this in this organization, and I think that just seeing even Binghamton last night was just a great thing, and hopefully we can continue this. And also, I've said this before on social media several times. Keep this in mind. There is a really good positive to the Devils being away from the game this long right now. Guys like Vatanen, guys like Aaron Dell, hell, even a guy like Nico Hischier, they're not missing any games. They can recover and they'll be ready to go. This team's going to look a lot different, in my opinion, once we actually get back to playing hockey. And the reason that Nico now is on the COVID list, that tells me that he's pretty damn close to being healthy and ready to go.
That's a good point that you bring up about Hischier. I didn't realize – I knew he got put on the list, but I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, all right, maybe he rooms with some of the guys that are on the team and he just happened to get it or has symptoms of it. But yeah, that could be the reason he's close to returning soon. But you addressed a lot of good points there, and I'm going to start with the Lindy Ruff point. I came into the season absolutely loving Lindy Ruff. You know my firsthand reaction.
To be honest with you, though, in the off season, I had to convince you to like Lindy Ruff.
I needed a lot of convincing, but once the research was done, I'm very happy with Lindy Ruff as the coach. He's exactly what this team needed. And like you said, this is a youth movement. Ever since Corey Crawford retired, we had our expectations changed drastically with, all right, maybe we're a fringe playoff team. Pittsburgh and Washington are sort of on the decline. Pasternak and Boston are also slowly on the decline.
Yeah.
So maybe there's an extra room for us to get in there. But once Crawford retired, that was the end of that. And I just, like you said, all these fans on the team just want to see competitive hockey. We've been duped of that for so long, too long, to be honest with you. But it's really good to see that we're not getting blown out. This team just does not stop competing, and they've come back from multiple goal leads where in the John Hines era of hockey, that game would have been over in a heartbeat.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about? Who is that? Who?
Oh, man shall not be named. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
How's Nashville doing? How's Nashville doing, Preds fans?
I think they lead the league in like fewest minutes for their top players. Yeah. So I think that tells you a lot you need to know.
Oh, that was a dumpster fire the minute that they hired him as the coach.
He wasn't even hired as the interim head coach. He literally took over for Peter Laviolette.
See, I
don't get that.
That's just dysfunctionality. I mean, maybe it's like Poyle has a connection with Hines. I don't know about that.
He does. It's the USA Hockey connection. That's why he got hired.
That makes sense. But like he did not do anything as a Devils coach. He was probably one of the most mediocre head coaches in the franchise history. And he gets a job like that. Like, no big deal.
Right.
He needs some time away from hockey, and it's going to be like 2-3 years with Nashville's going to be the most mediocre team in the league. But anyway, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I love the fact that Michael McLeod is starting to do something. Guys like Gusev and Palmieri, it's going to be interesting to see with them what they're going to do, what the Devils are going to do with them come the trade deadline. Both are on expiring deals and honestly have not played up to snuff. Let's be honest here. They've looked like,
I don't really get it with, I get it with Gusev because Gusev, as he proved last year, was kind of a slow, it took some time for him to get acquainted in the NHL. It just kind of seems like in Gusev's situation, he's kind of lost. Like he's not able to build chemistry with anybody. I mean, they even tried, I think for a little while, they tried the Zacha, Bratt, and Gusev line, and that didn't even really get going. So I don't, maybe there's pressure that he's feeling to try to perform. In Palmieri's case, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think there's something wrong. I think he's hurt. That's my answer.
I think he's hurt.
I think he's hurt because the NHL is very vague on telling us when somebody's hurt. And even if somebody's hurt, they don't tell you exactly what the problem is.
That's
do we really know what Nico Hischier's dealing with right now? We don't really know. They said it's a lower body injury. What does that mean?
That could be anything. His knee, his shin, his lower foot, Achilles, anything like that.
If you remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, we had Michael Camilleri who got hurt like 30 games into the season, and they said list him as day-to-day. He missed the last 50-plus games of the year, and we never could figure out what exactly was bugging him. Same thing with Taylor Hall.
Yep. We saw it in the middle of the year. He was coming back. He never did.
We don't know what Nico's situation is. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with him. But like I said before, this hiatus for the whole team is good because it allows Nico to have more time to heal up and get ready to go without missing any games. But I think with Gusev, it's just he has to find somebody on this team that he can click with. I don't know who that is. I don't know. With Palmieri, I think there's a lot that we don't know that he's dealing with. And I think that's something to keep in mind because I remember when he got that breakaway in the first game against Boston, was it just me or did it look like he was kind of slowing up and not really skating at 100% on that breakaway?
In overtime, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was just, maybe he was just trying to like fool Rask and trying to take a different speed because I know some guys do that in overtime, but maybe you're right. It's all speculation at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, look, it's just, we'll see what happens with both of them, but those two have been the most disappointing so far early on in the season. But again, for the Devils, at least, it's still very early in the year.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you said, this is going to be good for the Devils. It's a nice it's probably going to be 2 weeks, 2-week bye. And then we got a whole plethora of games. We got like 40 something games coming up.
Right.
I haven't seen exactly what the schedule changes are. But I know
I mentioned them. I mentioned all of them on the last episode of the Devil State of Mind podcast.
Okay.
If you guys want to take a listen to that. I mean, a lot of them are games that were going to be happening in March that got moved to April, I believe.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's a really interesting time. And I think Buffalo Sabres fans hate us right now. Understandably so.
Well, yeah, I could understand that just because of the lack of information given to the Sabres from both the Devils and the NHL.
Right.
It was a little fishy when Zajac got put on the list first, and then Palmieri, and then we saw the handful of guys days after.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to think that Buffalo is mad. But going back on Gusev and Palmieri, I think when Hischier comes back, maybe that'll give a guy like Palmieri to someone to click with, because it's not like with Gusev, he's been completely invisible. He's had flashes. He's made a couple of good plays, a couple of nice assists to Pavel Zacha.
That's your favorite guy on the team right now.
Yeah, he's the forward version of Mirko Mueller and John Merrill. Oh God. But the thing with Palmieri, he is just absolutely garbage this season. He hasn't done really anything right. He's made multiple turnovers, dumb mistakes in his own zone that led to goals. He's being played on the penalty kill, which I kind of don't like that. I would probably put him more on a second line, first line power play, have him sit where he can take one-timers, and I would rather have him there.
Yeah.
But I think I like the Gusev, Bratt, and Hughes line. That seemed to really work. No matter what, Hughes and Bratt looked great together. That should definitely stay the same. But when Hischier comes back, I definitely think Palmieri should be put on that line. And honestly, not really sure who would get put on that left wing spot. I wouldn't be against putting like Yanni Kwokin in there, maybe even
Yanni has improved his offensive game quite a lot over the last couple of games. Now, he has been playing mostly with McLeod and Bastian, and that was a line that was really impressing me. It's just constantly mixing it up. Lindy Ruff is not the type of guy that likes to make a lot of changes, but he'll make changes within the game. That's something that I've noticed a lot.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to switch it up right in the middle of the game if things are not going well. Like, he's not stubborn and just sticks with whatever and hopes that it turns around. If three guys are clicking in the middle of a game, well, they're going to be on a line together for the rest of that game. And that's really what you're going to see. With Bratt and Hughes, got to keep that together. I don't care if it's on the second line. I don't care if it's on the first line. You keep it. I personally believe that you have to, as much as I love Nico and I know that this is his team, I think right now to start, I think you put him as the second line centerman, because I think we need to add a little bit more playmaking to that top six. I think we're lacking in that. And I think, I'm not saying Hughes can't do it, but Hughes is more of a goal scorer. His main thing is he puts goals in the back of the net.
Hughes is a first line center no matter what. This is going to be similar. Proven. This is going to be similar to Crosby and Malkin in the sense that the number one center, which is Crosby, is the dynamic player, the more dynamic player. Not to say Malkin isn't dynamic, but the more offensive driven center. And the second line center is typically the guy who's like who can do more down low, create plays for other players,
and that's what Nico
and has
does.
Ability to score, and that's what Nico does. So even when we drafted Jack, I always thought if Jack could get to the potential that he can reach, like an elite goal scorer, like somewhere in the range of like Matthews and McDavid, not necessarily good as those guys.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome. That would be
especially with what Matthews has got like a 9-game goal streak or some crap right now. He
just can't stop scoring. McDavid has 2 points a game.
He's going to end up being like one of the most recognizable American athletes within the next year or two with the way he's playing. He's done a very good job. But
not only that, because of his influence in pop culture too.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he's half Latino, I mean, that's really gonna skyrocket. I mean, that's gonna be huge. But Hughes can definitely be a number one center, and that's fine with me. And I don't think Nico minds that as long as he continues to get good minutes. And I'm happy for Hughes because this is the Jack Hughes that we all expected. This guy that is he's just a difficult player to face. I mean, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's smarter. He understands how to play in the NHL now, and he's rocking and rolling. And that's really what I like to see. And that's where the frustration comes in about, his development gets put on the shelf again because we have a stoppage in play because of COVID. I mean, this guy has had very little to no success when it comes to actually having a consistent schedule over his first year and change in the NHL because of the craziness of COVID-19. But Jack Hughes has certainly impressed me, and I hope that he continues that style of play once we get back to playing.
Right. And I can totally see, I don't think it's unreasonable to say if Jack Hughes reaches some part of his potential, he can take over a game similarly to what McDavid and Nick Kane could do. I don't think that's really unreasonable to think. Like maybe now and maybe a year or two from now, maybe that's a little stretch. But I definitely think when he's 24, 25, he can really take over a game and really take over a team. He could change a game, 2 goals like that in a matter of minutes. And like you said, he's just tough to play against. He's very elusive with the puck, and he makes good decisions.
Yeah.
He dekes when he has to. He gets puck in deep when he has to. He's in the right spots, and he gets rewarded for it. Like that goal against the Rangers, how he's just, the puck is sitting in the crease and he swats it in because he's in the right place.
And look at also like how he scored that second goal. He's in the right position. He blocks his shot from a defenseman. He picks it up, and because of his speed, he just beats him. And that was basically it. Like that's a more confident Jack Hughes that we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. And I think definitely Lindy Ruff's system plays a part of it for him as a center, because it's very important to be defensively responsible as a center. No matter what line of center you play, it's always good if you have some defensive capabilities, not be completely unreliable like some of the other bozos that we have on this team. But yes, Jack Hughes is performing the way we want. And how can we talk about performance without talking about Ty Smith? Smith, honestly, I think he might be the leader for the Calder.
He is actually. NHL.com came out earlier today when we're recording this with their Calder Trophy rankings or tracker, and Ty Smith is number 1 on everybody's list, including a guy that I interviewed, Mike Morial of NHL.com. They put him at number 1, which is kind of crazy because I know Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota have been kicking ass basically, before they got put on pause because of COVID. But still, for Ty Smith to do what he's doing right now, it kind of shows that I think the Devils made the right decision to wait this long.
Mm-hmm. I think I totally agree with you. I didn't want to rush him at all on a crappy Devils team. I don't think he was ready in 2017, 2018 when we drafted him, or it was 2018, 2019.
Right.
I don't think he was ready then. And even still, the next year he had a terrible camp. Maybe he went through camp injured. They said he had something with his wrist that he had dealing with at that point. But I think it was perfect to let him dominate the WHL for 2 years, play in the World Junior Championships, dominate there. And it's really paying off. And he just needed to mature mentally and a little bit physically, because he's not the biggest guy. But it's fantastic to see that finally he's paying off. He's getting recognition as one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. And this is only a small sample of what we could see. Maybe he turns out like a Will Butcher, but I highly doubt it. He scores 45 points in his rookie year and then does nothing and is completely unreliable whatsoever going forward. But
what terrible circumstances for Will Butcher. I mean, he hasn't even played a single minute.
Yeah, him and Carrick.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. Lindy Ruff, the only reason he's had to make changes is because he was forced into it. He had to because of COVID and other situations. Mm-hmm. If it's up to him, he basically just sticks with whoever is producing the most. And guys like Connor Carrick and Will Butcher have just not, I guess, in Lindy Ruff's mind, have just not performed up to the level that they want to see. And, I thought Dmitry Kulikov was going to be our 7th defenseman, considering what he was supposedly bringing to the table. Now I'm happy he's a top 4 defenseman. I mean, he's done a fantastic job, especially on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's done, I think he has the highest plus minus of anybody on this team.
Does he really?
Considering. And I think, you're going to laugh, but number 2 on that list is Matt Tennyson. Yeah, I know. I know.
Like when you said you're going to laugh, I saw it immediately. It's
Matt Tennyson. Yeah. I mean, and Tennyson's been,
he's
okay.
He's not been as bad as I thought he would be, but it doesn't. My expectation for him was just literally under the floor. But
the thing with Tennyson is that he's only there until Vatanen gets him. Once he's on the team, either Tennyson's going to be that 7th defenseman, or they're going to send him down to Binghamton, aka down the hallway to play with
right on the other side of the building.
I mean, he's still playing in the same building, just not in the main arena.
That's something else I'm kind of interested to seeing when Vatanen comes back. Will he play with Ty Smith on the right side, or because they can put him on the left side? He's played there before. He played there last year with PK before he got traded and the injury and all that stuff. So, and Ty Smith and Vatanen seem to play very similar games. So it'll be interesting to see like what Alain Nazardine and Lindy Ruff want to do.
I think the smartest thing is to pair Ty Smith with a more defensive defenseman. So PK would not be a good idea, in my opinion. Vatanen would be okay, but again, Vatanen's more of our, especially since he's been in New Jersey, he's been our top power play defenseman.
Right.
So that would be a little bit hard.
I wouldn't honestly be mad if they kept him with Damon Severson.
That's actually the pairing that I want to see,
because they seem to work. And
Severson, I got to be honest with you. This is a very good start for him. I'm really taken aback by how he's been playing. He seems to be more confident. He seems to believe that he can do what he needs to do to put the puck in his own net, as opposed to, well, not in his own net, in the other team's net, as opposed to his own net. I'm liking how he's playing. The biggest disappointment, I would say, I didn't know if you wanted to get to this, but I would say the biggest disappointment from the defensive side has to be PK Subban, without a doubt. And I think that's really, I think now that we're seeing it for a second year in a row, I don't think it's a matter of, is PK just not fitting in with this team? I just don't think he's the same player that he was even just 2 years ago. Right. I think his skills are deteriorating. And I think asking him to play that high minutes as an offensive defenseman is hurting him, because he's just not a defensive defenseman at all.
Right. And it's actually really funny because he, like, one of the first games, he played like 30 minutes of ice time, which is, I mean, PK is capable of that at a younger age he was, but now I just don't see it. And it's really a shame because I've said it multiple times. PK Subban was one of my favorite defensemen when he was on Montreal. Even just in the league, he was so dominating. His personality just stood out to me. He's very entertaining as a person, very funny guy.
Yeah.
But it's upsetting because it's clear that he doesn't have it anymore. And if he wants to continue to be an NHLer, I think he has to switch up his game a little bit. Maybe not, because we see him take all these dumb slap shots that never hit the net. They're always either blocked or miss the net.
Or he fakes it half the time. I mean, how many times have we seen him fake the slap shot? And it's like, no, we want you to shoot the damn puck. Right. That's what you're here for.
And it's clear he doesn't belong in the power play. I wouldn't have a problem putting on the kill, just because I would rather just use him more defensively, have him switch from having a limited offensive role to a complete shutdown defenseman role. I don't know if that would be more beneficial for him, and especially with Lindy Ruff's system of getting defensemen involved in the rush, I don't know how PK can switch up his game, because it's like, I read an article today. I know it has nothing to do with hockey, but I saw an article today about Aroldis Chapman and how he can't throw 105 miles an hour anymore. So
obviously,
because he's getting older and stuff like that.
And he throws that's why he went to getting an off-speed pitch that's still, I think his off-speed pitch is something like 88 miles an hour anyway. Yeah. So it's it's still effective.
He said he wanted to work on his splitter so that he can still throw 100 miles an hour, but have enough of a change in pitch where he can still be a dominant closer and nobody would know what he's coming. But that's kind of the similar thing that PK Subban has to sort of get going here. And maybe he gets taken in the expansion draft. I
think that's a logical thing, because I think the Devils are going to end up protecting him, because I don't think anybody's going to want to take PK on a trade unless somebody thinks that they can use him on a competitive team, like a Stanley Cup team. For all we know, this is just random, but for all we know, Vegas could call us and ask us about PK. And we could be like, all right, well, what do you like? And then we just try to take what they're offering us, which I mean, we would probably get a good deal because they're in cap crap. I don't even know how the hell they've avoided cap hell with the amount of money that they have. But they would seriously have to give up somebody who's worth a lot of money. I mean, probably like a Max Pacioretty or somebody who's making roughly what PK's making per year.
Right.
But I just don't think the Devils are going to want to keep PK long term because he's just not performing. I mean, it's one thing to have him as a voice in the locker room. It's another thing if he's not performing on the ice. He's just hurting the team and its own development. And we have young defensemen that need to be given opportunities. Kevin Ball, 6'6", a mammoth of a player.
Mm-hmm.
Even Riley Walsh, honestly, I really like the potential of Riley Walsh. I think he has the ability to become a very solid NHL defenseman. I mean, he's already done pretty well in professional hockey with what he did last night for Binghamton. Mm-hmm. And I know that's one game, but still.
It's only a sample size.
It's only a sample size. And I think the way Fitzgerald's trying to structure this team, we got to go. It seems like Fitzgerald wants to go from the back end to the front. Like he wants to start with, let's solidify goaltending, let's solidify the defense, and then we'll kind of go. And then because we already have the young offensive players, let's kind of go from the back end to up front. And I think that's important.
Yeah, and especially with this draft pick that we have coming up, it's probably going to be top 10 again. And this is a draft class with a plethora of solid defensemen, and that's the thing. There's no
isn't Jack Hughes' brother Luke a defenseman?
Yes, he is, and he's draft eligible this year. He's supposed to go top 7, 8.
Top 7, 8, yeah,
like around there. But I mean, if the Devils got Jack and Luke Hughes, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. Because look how Quinn turned out, and everybody was Quinn's he's phenomenal. Easily the best defenseman of the draft.
You know, it would be cool
him and McCarr.
Yeah, and it would be cool to see, you know, because I know the Devils have his brother Graham, but I know was it Brendan Clark?
Brant Clark.
Brant Clark is projected to be the number 1 overall pick.
He's definitely top 3.
I mean, from what it's kind of crazy, and
read.
I think. I'm not saying the Devils are going to end up with the number 1 overall pick again. I mean, if we ended up with that pick again, we would be the Oilers of the East. I mean, that would solidify it 100%.
I mean, yeah, I could.
To get that many first-round picks in the span of 5 years.
But their first overall picks weren't that dynamic for them. I mean, Nugent Hopkins, yeah, he's still on the team.
You traded Hall.
He's okay. Hall's gone. Yakupov is out of the league. McDavid, that's the easiest pick in the history of the league. So it's because of them drafting. It's not because of if the Oilers took Tyler Seguin instead of Taylor Hall, maybe Sagan's still on the Oilers.
Maybe that's a good point. You know, maybe if the Devils drafted Elias Pettersson over Nico, maybe be in a different position. I don't know. It's crazy, but you know, we'll see. I'm interested to see. I've become this person now where I could care less about the draft until we're actually there.
Right.
I don't want to think about tanking. I don't want to think about anything like that. I want to focus on this team being competitive. I'm tired of us being down at the bottom of the league and every year hoping, maybe we'll get a really good player, a once in a generation talent, and we'll be good to go. We have to become an all-around competitive team. We can't just rely on 1 or 2 players. As great as Edmonton has been this year, who are their 2 main guys? McDavid and Draisaitl. That's literally their whole team. Everyone else, who else is good on the team? Yamamoto? Nugent Hopkins? I mean,
Nugent Hopkins is a little overrated.
Look at their goaltending situation. You think Koskinen is going to be somehow the second coming of Martin Brodeur this year?
And Mike Smith.
And Mike Smith, because they think it makes sense to keep a guy who's clearly past his prime.
He's done, yeah.
But this is my point. I would rather the Devils have a workman-like team. Like when they won Stanley Cups, they didn't have a once-in-a-generational offensive talent. Yeah, they had role guys like Claude Lemieux, Alexander McGillney, Jeff Friesen, Gomez, Patrick Elias, Rick Breland, who, by the way, I know people don't agree with me, but I still think Sergei Breland's number should be retired by the Devils because he's literally the only player that hasn't had his number retired that won 3 Stanley Cups. I mean, he was on all 3 teams and was very vital to them. I mean, that's my argument, but that's an argument for another day.
I feel like he's a Ring of Honor guy.
Well, I mean, we don't have that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we do. We have McMullen. The
That's
only
one
guy.
person.
The
We have
only
one
guy.
person. That's
It's
what
like
I'm saying.
it's like we forgot about it. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
one. It's the one guy.
Right. We half-assed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with the Jets, they have a Ring of Honor with more than one person in it.
Yeah.
But,
Shocking.
again, I just want to see this team continue to be competitive throughout the season. And so far, that's what we've seen.
For sure, yeah. And that's all we hoped for going into the season. We said it multiple times. We'll keep saying it. We just want to see competitive hockey. Win or lose, we want to be in the game in the third period, maybe down a goal, maybe up a goal. We just want to see them fight back, do all the little things correct, because that's been a big problem with this team. And I think going forward, that's honestly all you have to hope for just for this season, because it really depends on what's going on next season. We have a plethora of prospects coming in.
Hopefully, an 82-game season.
An 82-game season with fans, because I need to go to a Devils game.
I think we all do, man.
Badly. I think
it's now been exactly a year for me.
Really?
Just really killing me right now.
I went to the last one.
Oh, you went when they played Pittsburgh,
when they played Pittsburgh, yeah.
Jesus.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Little did we know.
I mean, if we had won that game, we would be playing in the bubble, would we have not?
How crazy would that be? Because then
I think
we probably wouldn't have Holt. We wouldn't have Holtz. Probably wouldn't have. Maybe we would have Mercer.
No, well, if everything still went the same way, then we probably would have at least gotten Mercer. I don't know if we would have drafted Shakir. I literally have no idea. I still don't know how we drafted Shakir.
He's got a great name. I can't. I really hope he has the longest name. Hope he makes the NHL, because I want a Muka Badulin jersey more than anything in the world.
He's going to be another 3 or 4 years away. That kid.
At least
he's got a long. I mean, Mercer probably 2 years.
I could see Mercer playing this year. Honestly,
can you? I'm a little skeptical, but I'm different. Alexander Holtz. It's like I hope he's in camp next year.
Holtz will be in camp next year.
I want he's built for the NHL. He's 6'4" and what is he, 220?
Something like that. And he scores goals. And he scores goals.
Yeah, and he puts the puck in the back of the net. Can you imagine having Bratt, Hughes, and Holtz as your top line?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great. I'd take that in a heartbeat. I mean, we wouldn't have drafted Holtz. We probably would have ended up taking. I don't know.
We can't even speculate.
I don't even speculate.
But
I don't remember.
It would probably be somewhere 10, 11 where Anton Lundell went, Cole Perfetti went, somewhere around there.
Askarov, I think. Where do you go? Askarov went 13th, I think.
Nashville.
It's all right. That could have been worse. That could have been worse.
Yeah. Well, Neil, that was a very, very long conversation. Like we always have. We always feel like time feels endless whenever we have these conversations. But thank you again so much for being my first ever guest.
No problem.
If I write a book, you're going to be in it. I'll be like Steve Dangle in 10 years. I'll have my own book.
There you go.
But no, in all seriousness, thank you so much. Let's tell the people where they can find you.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want the first autographed copy of that book. Make sure you get it to me. Remember us little people. When you're there down the road. But yeah, you can follow me on my personal Twitter at THENVPSHOW. My personal Instagram at NVPQB11. I literally on my Twitter it's all sports. On my Instagram it's literally everything else that I like to talk about. Personal stuff, mental health, food, sports. More sports. Yeah, you get the idea. But you can check me out there. You can follow the Devil's State of Mind podcast. Like I mentioned before, you can subscribe to it wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes come out every Monday and Thursday. So we got another episode coming out. Also, since we are now sponsored by DraftKings, make sure to use the code THPN as a promo code. So you can get 20% off your first bet or whatever. It's one of those things. Deposit, I think I don't remember what exactly it was, but make sure you go check us out there. And also just check out all the podcasts that we have on the Hockey Podcast Network. We have basically one for every single team. We also have other really good ones like House of Hockey and a bunch of others, which are great. We have a tremendous following, and I hope you guys become part of that. And yeah, Devil's State of Mind on Twitter at Devil's State, and on Instagram at Devil's State of Mind, and also on Facebook, just search Devil's State of Mind and you can find it. You can basically follow all those to interact with me, to stay up to date with new episodes that come out, like I said, every Monday and Thursday. So you get 2 episodes a week. And right now it's a little bit difficult since I don't have much to talk about, but I get creative. I get very,
you definitely make it work.
Oh yeah, I make it work. I'm one of the most consistent guys on the network, no doubt. But again, you could go check us out there. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, in case anybody would like to know, you can check out my 2 books that I have published, JETS, Pain, which is about the pain and suffering of being a New York Jets fan. And if any of you know Sean, he is a massive and very sad New York Jets fan. But
we're on the upswing. We are on the upswing.
Well, in theory,
we are on the upswing. Won't get into it.
If you get Juju Smith-Schuster, he'll be dancing. He'll be doing TikToks all year long.
Doesn't matter. Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold, whoever it is. Honestly, I am in heaven right now with the Jets.
Yeah, as a Giants fan, I wish I knew what that was like. But anyway, yeah, you can check it out. It talks about all the painful memories, painful games, painful moments, of basically Jets history. It's the Jets. It's a Jets book for the fans, by the fans.
Right.
So please go check that out. Also, check out Meet the Mets Mets, the REGRETS of New York Town, which talks about the regrets of being a New York Mets fan. And I mean, they're also on the upswing, no pun intended. Yeah, they are on the upswing, which is good. But if you wanna really experience what it really means to be a New York Mets fan, please go check this book out. They're both for the price of $19.69 on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and basically wherever you buy books. So please go check it out. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. And again, Sean, thank you, my man, for having me on today. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And as you say at the end of all of your videos, let's go Devils.
Well, Neil, thank you again. And if you decided to stay along for this long journey of this video, thank you very much. But not only should you like and subscribe and check out every single one of Neil's content that he puts out, you should comment what you thought about any of the topics we covered. Would love to talk about it in the comments section. Not only that, what you want to see in the future, what you want to see with the little break that we have going on. I plan on getting a few more videos out before at least we start before the 16th, but we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. So with that said, let's go Devils. Sean and Neil are out.